It's April 3rd, 2019, 2:51 p.m. And this is episode 431. Is that correct? Yes, it is. 431. Sometimes I try to get an idea that I think, I always try to get an idea that I hope is like impossible for any other cartoonist to think of. And this might be one of those. But I don't know if it's a great idea. Because this is like my weirdness. And sometimes my weirdness doesn't click with everybody. Or anyone at all. On some days. But, and then I just take a shot. I just go for it. It's like, just jailing people. Let me just do it. I decided to change the trees back here in the background. It was after I'd stopped recording while I was roughing it. I spent like 20 minutes drawing the rough. And I spend 20 minutes drawing the rough, well, now I'm going to spend a long time drawing the cartoon. And there were some things that I changed while drawing this. Here's a bad thing about working on the Surface Pro, is that since you don't have like the full screen size for the size of the paper that you're drawing with, because this paper size right here, the actual size would be like 8.5 by 11, and that takes up way more than the screen. So you have to zoom in a lot and move the page around. The drawback to that is at times you draw something out of proportion, and I did that today, and then I just went back and redrew those things, and they're still a bit out of proportion, but I was like, screw it. And I think I got this idea yesterday. I remember that when I got it, it wasn't really clicking in my head yet. It's just like alligator, security clearance, and golf. And I just remember that the context, the text, and everything wasn't working out right. So, and I think you see me draw this guy in the alligator. And then I don't like him that much. I did like drawing the cattails in here. I don't ever see cattails anymore. When I was a kid in Illinois, I saw them all the time. And then a few years ago, I saw them in Maine. And I was like, whoa, look, cattails! I have my little sister with me. She's like, look, cattails! And she's like, what? It's kind of a big deal for me that day. See, this guy's way out of proportion. And I zoom out, and I'm like, yes, he is. Let's go back in. And I just get rid of all that. Alright, let's do some shout-outs. I was just waiting for that. Shout-out time. Emily does not have sandwiches in Utah. Oops, I read that wrong. She does not have Wawa in Utah, but she has a Maverick, and it's awesome. I've never heard of Maverick. I've heard of being Mavericky. And the roommate we just got out smoked Mavericks, which is like a generic cigarette. He also took the toaster. I was thinking that it was Thursday and it was time for me to work on CNN in Costa Rica. And I go in the kitchen and I forced myself to wake up earlier than usual. Go into the kitchen and I'm going to make a bagel because I just bought like 2 packages of bagels. And then I cut the thing open and I go to put it inside the toaster and I'm like sticking it in air because the toaster's not there. Now maybe he owned the toaster, so maybe he didn't steal it, but he took it. He did steal all the butter knives. He left the spoons, the forks, everything else, steak knives. But for some reason, he took all the butter knives, which kind of makes sense that he took the toaster because he's got to spread stuff on bread. And he's got to toast that bread. All right. It's just, who takes butter knives? I don't get it. I just don't get it. If he had taken all the silverware, they're like, he took all the silverware, but just the butter knives? Yeah. So Ariel pretty much quoted me, so no bonus cartoons this week unless there are bonus cartoons this week. Exactly what I said. Come on, do you look at the program? That's it. Ariel said, I think the average poor time a woman realizes, that's how you wrote, when they're pregnant is between 8 and 10 weeks. That's because they usually miss 2 menstrual cycles. La 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 la. We're moving on to the next one. I don't know about what's going on with your lady parts and lady business. Take him to the bathroom. We'll talk about it with your girlfriends. Alright. Now let's start talking about Panera. But, you know, better talk about Panera. Oh, wait, here it goes. Let's skip one. Arrow says, another reason to put the patient and little booties in the cartoon. Toes are hard to draw, darn it. They are hard to draw, but sometimes it's worth it. Because someone gave me a compliment last week that they really liked the way that I drew feet and toes. They were talking about the one, I think, with all the girls in the locker room. I'm like, alright. Footman, are you? Alright. Arrow loves Panera, but also likes quick check sandwiches. The Wawa locations are pretty far. Her to go there on a whim, but this is how she usually gets food. Also, stupid YouTube didn't notify me that Robert replied my comment. I have to go check it out. Sorry. YouTube doesn't notify me of every comment either. It gets like most of them, but it does skip some sometimes. So, Arrow says he's glad the creepy extra mate's finally gone. He said you did everything legal way. I'm just super surprised that it took a short time to make us emotion. Well, it depends, you know. We gave him a little bit more than a month. I just didn't talk about it on here because I didn't think that would be really, really cool. And it's probably not cool now, but I'm not saying his name and stuff. And plus, he's gone. He apparently left the state. But the thing is, he had papers served a couple times, and then his last month he didn't pay rent, which I kind of saw coming. Then he got served papers for that, and I think he could have stuck it out for like just to fight it. But here's the thing, though. You can stick it out and fight it for a while, but that entire time that you're fighting it, you're running a tab, you know, and that you're going to be sued for. That's going to take you to court, and then maybe you'll never pay that either. But it's just, yeah, it can be really, really hard to get someone out of a house. But those people that's doing that, they're not doing themselves any favors either. So the other one's just going to take the credit hit. Now the landlord's going to lose a lot of money, but those people take the credit hit. And Arrow's too lazy to go look up all the Wawa sandwich ingredients. But I tell you, 2 things that they have: meat and cheese and bread. There's 3 things. Yeah. But it's good deals. Good deals. Yeah. Good stuff. People in this area, most people that I talk to like Wawa way better than they like Subway. Now that's not going to convince Ariel, but she's going to say that's a low bar, right? Then we're talking about carbon. And the carbon. If you were growing plants that take carbon out of the air, it is probably not a problem to feed that to cows, and people have to go back into the air in a lesser quantity. Net carbon emissions. And Robert Coutinho asked, do you guys have blue Johnnies instead of white? Or white with pattern ones? Nurses and sometimes doctors wear blue here, but not patients. I don't know. I haven't been to a hospital here in a while, and I don't want to go. I once dated a nurse until she started telling me emergency room stories. And I was like, this ain't gonna work out. I've actually dated 2 nurses. Yeah, and neither one of those worked out because they tell me things. One of them would come home with catheter stories. I'm like, you gotta go. Eric Coutinho says you make the best chowder, not that crap that Long Island, New York makes. You are so right. That stuff is just terrible. It's an insult to chowder. That Manhattan clam chowder, they should just keep that shit in Manhattan, you know. And I like Manhattan, but keep your chowder, you know. The New England clam chowder is the best. I've had it in New England, not just in a can. Okay, I've actually gone to New England and had the chowder. I've also had the lobster rolls. And lobster, of course. I had a waitress in New England try to talk me out of getting the lobster roll. She's like, she's Canadian though. And it's like a lobster sandwich. And so I didn't get one. The next time I went there, I got one. And I should not have let that Canadian woman talk me out of getting the lobster roll. Oh my God, it was incredible. I went to this place that pretty much did nothing but lobster rolls. And it looked like a meat market when you walked in. It's all like cold and the floor, everything's concrete and stuff. It took like 10 minutes to get the lobster roll, which I didn't really understand. But it was awesome. But yeah, the best chowder is in New England. It's not I've never heard of Long Island chowder, and I'm kind of scared of it. Robert Coutinho also didn't agree politically with the last cartoon. It's not a funny cartoon. Here's the thing that a lot of people feel about abortion. I was talking to my little sister once, and she said, I'm just totally against abortion. I could never, ever have one. I said, okay. How do you feel about outlawing it? And she's like, oh, I could never wouldn't want that. It should be legal. Shouldn't tell other women what to do. And I said, see, you're pro-life. You're pro-choice. And that is pretty much how most people in the country are. They don't want to outlaw abortion, but meanwhile, they wouldn't choose one for themselves. But at the same time, you should never, even if you say that you'll never get one yourself, you don't really know that. You don't, because you don't know what will happen. You don't know what situation you might be in. And which is why also you should never judge someone who does get one. When I'm in my early 20s, I felt like I was pro-life. And my wife's best friend had an abortion. And then she came to visit us, and my wife told me, Clay, don't you say anything to her, don't you chew her out and stuff like that. And I thought, well, I couldn't do that. Because, it's really none of my business, even though I felt like I was pro-life. And then I just thought, and that made me think about it more, that, yeah, what business is it of mine? I could go out and scream about the life and everything, but what she didn't involve me. It was, who am I to say, yeah, you can always just scream about the life that was gone. If it's a life, you can debate that. But you're not in her situation, You're not carrying that. It's not you. So I pretty much changed my outlook on things. A lot. It wasn't overnight, but I changed on that. When I just started and the whole impetus was just thinking about people who would just go after other people who did it. We're almost done. Who messaging me and why? I will get back to you. People like to message me memes. Some people make memes and then they send me the memes. You think they would just put them on social media and wait for other people to react instead of sending them to me personally? And I've even told one, look, guy, I don't like memes. In fact, I hate memes, so no offense. But please stop sending me memes. Oh, yeah, that's all good. Next day I get more memes. It just... Anyway, here's your cartoon, folks. There's all your golfers and stuff. And gators, golfers and gators. I had a hard time naming this cartoon also. Click the red button and subscribe to my YouTube channel, please. And what else do you need to do? Yeah, leave a comment. If you leave a comment, I will give you a shout out. I'll yell at you and go, oh, and say your name. Okay? And everybody, tomorrow's my super busy day, but I'll be a little busy today. And there will be a new video tomorrow. Goodbye.